Let me ask you something uncomfortable. If I dropped $1 million into your retirement account tomorrow, would you actually know what to do next? Would you retire? Keep working? Panic about taxes? Worry it's not enough? We've turned $1 million into this magical finish line, the ultimate retirement badge. Hit 7 figures and you win, right? Not exactly. Here's the truth most retirement content never tells you. $1 million isn't the most important milestone. It's not even the one that changes your life the most. There are 3 specific net worth levels where your financial reality fundamentally shifts, where compounding stops feeling slow and starts feeling unfair, where options multiply, where stress drops, where retirement stops being a dream and starts being math. And if you understand these milestones, you stop obsessing over headlines and start playing the long game properly. Let's break them down. Milestone number 1, the first $100,000. This one surprises people. It's not sexy. It doesn't impress anyone at dinner. You're not posting screenshots of a 100K Vanguard account on Instagram. But this is the hardest milestone you will ever hit. The first $100,000 is brutal. Why? Because in the beginning, it's almost all you. Let's run basic math. Say you invest $6,000 per year. That's $500 a month, totally realistic if you're maxing a Roth IRA or contributing steadily to a 401k. Assume an average 8% annual return. Your first year, you make about $480 in growth. That's $40 per month. You're putting in $500 and getting back $40. That feels slow, almost insulting. Year 2, still mostly your money doing the heavy lifting. Early compounding is boring, it's underwhelming, it doesn't feel powerful. That's why most people quit. They hit $25,000. Market drops 15%. Now they're back at $21,000, and they think, what's the point? But here's the shift. Once you hit $100,000, an 8% return becomes $8,000 per year. Now your money is contributing more than you are. You're putting in $6,000. The market is adding $8,000. That's the inflection point. Before 100K, you power the engine. After 100K, the engine starts helping. This milestone builds something bigger than money. It builds discipline. It proves you can delay gratification, ignore volatility, stay consistent during recessions when everyone else panics. This is your financial boot camp. And if you never cross 100K, the rest of the game gets very hard. Milestone number 2, $500,000, the freedom zone. Now we're getting interesting. At $500,000 invested, things stop feeling theoretical. Let's use the same 8% assumption. That's $40,000 per year in average growth. Read that again. $40,000 generated without you showing up to work. If you're still contributing $6,000 to $10,000 per year, the market is now doing most of the lifting. Your investments have effectively become a second income stream. Now let's talk about the psychological shift. At $500,000, you can start seriously calculating early retirement. You have flexibility in your career. You can take calculated risks. You're not financially fragile anymore. Using the 4% withdrawal rule, $500,000 could generate $20,000 per year in retirement income. Is that enough to retire in Manhattan? No. But combine that with Social Security and maybe part-time consulting, it's realistic. You gain options. You can downshift your career, leave a toxic workplace, try something entrepreneurial without fearing total collapse. And something else happens at this milestone. Market drops stop terrifying you. When you had $30,000 invested, a 20% drop was $6,000 on paper. That hurt. At $500,000, a 20% drop is $100,000 on paper. That sounds horrifying, but you've seen recovery cycles. You understand long-term averages. You've lived through volatility. You're not longer reacting emotionally. You're thinking probabilistically. That's a massive shift. This is where retirement becomes strategic, not hopeful. Milestone number 3, $1.5 million to $2 million, true financial independence. Now we're in a different category. This is not comfortable if careful. This is independence. Let's break the numbers down clearly. At $1.5 million, 4% withdrawal equals $60,000 per year. At $2 million, 4% equals $80,000 per year. For many Americans, that replaces their working salary. Except now, you're not working. And here's what really changes. You no longer depend on your labor to survive. You work because you want to, or you don't work. Your choice. At this level, compounding becomes almost ridiculous. An 8% return on $2 million is $160,000 per year in growth. If you're spending $80,000 annually, your portfolio could still be growing. You've crossed into self-sustaining territory. And this milestone unlocks something bigger than comfort: legacy. Now you can help your kids with a down payment, fund education, create trust structures, donate meaningfully, leave behind generational capital. You've broken the cycle. This is where you move from stability to impact. The time variable nobody respects enough. People obsess over contribution amounts. They ignore time. Start at 25 versus 35? That 10-year difference can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, possibly over $1 million. If you invest $6,000 annually at 25 at 8%, by 65 you're looking at well over $1.5 million. Start at 35? You might be closer to $700,000 to $900,000. Same contribution, different timeline. Time isn't just important, it's dominant. What if I'm behind? Let's address reality. Maybe you're 45 with $20,000 saved. Okay, no denial. You're behind. But you're not doomed. In 2026, 401k contribution limits are high. With catch-up contributions after age 50, you can put in significantly more each year. Let's run a scenario. You're 45 with $20,000 invested. At 50, you start maxing contributions aggressively. Let's say roughly $30,000 per year, including catch-ups. Assume 8% annual returns. By 65, you could realistically approach or exceed $900,000 to $1 million. Is that $2 million? No.
But combine that with Social Security and maybe downsizing your home, you can create a stable retirement. Will it require sacrifice? Yes. Aggressive saving, reduced lifestyle inflation, hard conversations. But math doesn't care about your starting point. It cares about consistency. Starting late just means you play harder. The pattern across all three milestones. Look closely and you'll notice something. The first milestone teaches discipline. The second gives you freedom. The third creates independence. But all three rely on the same formula: consistent contributions, broad, low-cost index investing, staying invested during downturns, avoiding lifestyle inflation, and letting compounding do its job. There's no secret strategy hiding here. No exotic day trading system, no crypto hack, no real estate flipping miracle. Just long-term participation in productive assets. That's it. The real mistake most people make: they wait for motivation. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for a raise. They wait for next year. Meanwhile, compounding waits for no one. Every year you delay is exponential damage. The jump from 100K to 200K is faster than from 0 to 100K. The jump from 500K to 1 million is dramatically faster than you expect. Acceleration is real, but only if you start. Here's the big takeaway. $1 million is not magic. It's context. What actually matters are the inflection points where your money starts outpacing your effort. 100K, proof of discipline; 500K, flexibility and leverage; 1.5 million to 2 million, independence. If you treat retirement like a scoreboard number, you'll miss the strategy. If you treat it like a long-term system, you win slowly, then suddenly. And one day you'll check your account and realize something strange. Your money grew more this year than you earned from work. That's the moment the game changes. That's when retirement stops being a fantasy and starts being inevitable. Stay consistent, stay invested, let time do what it always does. It favors the patient.